All right, there we are.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How you
Good
doing?
morning. I'm doing good. I had a little hiccup with the computer, so I am. Thank God for technology. I'm going live from my cell phone. By the way, I have to turn off dog TV because I got it right there playing for the dog. So
Well, we all know
let me
that Miss
mute it.
Riley definitely is a big fan. But hey,
Oh my
everyone, good
Lord.
morning. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of The Morning Cup with my amazing work wife, Miss Barbara Brooks, and myself, Lupe Hurt. We are so excited and thrilled you guys are here today. We have an amazing lineup of some beautiful women that are going to be
We
sharing
do.
their talents with us at BizLifeCon coming up tomorrow, right?
We do.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And
crazy.
so today we have a really great lineup, as Lupe was saying. We are excited to bring on Arezou, who is an investor of sorts. She's a consultant. She has provided us really great resources and information and intel on what we're
Mhm.
doing. And we're really excited to hear from her, as well as Tony Lipsy, who is, wow, she is an influencer. Not that that term is really popular anymore, but she is joining us today from Columbus, Ohio, where we're going to be talking to her about what she's going to teach everyone tomorrow at this LifeCon. And she has grown oh my gosh, she has 96,000 people
She's
that are
crushing
on
it.
her Instagram page. She is killing it. And so, really excited to hear from her today. But we're going to open up the show with our own little tidbits. We decided to kind of pick our own things to talk about today. So mine that I found is that I wanted to share because also a lot of our women aren't necessarily looking per se to be entrepreneurs. They are perfectly fine, and I get it, with working in corporate America, which is a part of our pillars are to help you land a job, and I'll be speaking to that tomorrow, providing 7 tips with beating ageism at our beautiful young numbers that we sit at. But for those of you that are in corporate America, one of the things I wanted to remind you about or share with you is, and I'll put the link after we're done, is there are 15, I'm not going to share all of them, but there are 15 companies that I've discovered that are offering work from home choices. And so I'm going to just list off a few. I've got to put on my glasses, of course. I think my arm's going
Stylish
to go
glasses.
dead. All right, here we go. So some of these we've heard of, and some of them are new. And again, for those of you that are looking to stay in corporate America and may have lost their position, looking for something new, as in swiveling, not pivoting, these are some really great companies to look at, to consider. And by the way, we're talking human resources. These are the types of positions, just a few of them. There's many more. There's HR, recruiting, accounting, financial, coding, technology, admin. I put that last because everybody likes to assume that we're just good for admin. That's not the case. But so here's a few. There's Kelly Services, which we've all heard of. They are not based here, however, in Colorado. However, they are all over the United States. It's a really great recruiting company that provides you with many opportunity for positions at Fortune 500 companies all the way down to small businesses. Robert Half, now that they're a global leader in this area. They also provide not just resources, or I should say, not just the opportunity to find these types of positions that I listed earlier, but they also, there's a such thing, the new buzzword are flex jobs, huge considering where we are today. So, and there is a Flex Jobs website I highly recommend going to. I believe it is flexjobs.com. So Robert Half not only specializes in getting you a permanent position, but also temporary and flex job opportunities. You have United Healthcare if you're in the healthcare industry. We all can agree, United is one of the best. Oh, do I miss them?
I know. I used to have them at one point in time.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you a secret. Okay, so now that I realize this isn't necessarily hitting LinkedIn. So years ago, I had major back problems, and I was always larger in the chest area, and they paid for my breast reduction. Yes.
Okay,
If you
but
see
I've
me
heard
in
that
person,
that's
you
like a
go,
legit, like I've
those
heard
are
that's
the
a legit
dudes.
thing. Like the pain that comes with that is crazy. So,
Yeah, it was painful. I had painful mornings. Every morning I woke up for probably almost 10 years. It was from a car accident when I was T-boned and working in Fort Worth, Texas. But that combined with having larger breasts. So yeah, so I only had to pay, like, I think $250 because they paid for the entire
that's
$10,000.
crazy. That's
That's why I
awesome.
love United Healthcare. Yeah. The others are cyber coders. So if you're in tech, and a lot of you are, cyber coders is out there looking for work from home. Again, these are work from home opportunities. So right now, because of what is happening, these are really great opportunities for you to look into these companies. Dell Technologies, again, tapping into the technology realm of things. We have, well, this is a new one. Forfait. Okay, so I can't even pronounce it, but we'll put that link down. Pearson, I'd never heard of them, but they are an international learning corporation. So they are maybe like the K-12s of the world.
Yeah.
They have really great I should say positions out there as well. And just two more. Amazon, our buddy Megan
Shocker.
Cho over at Amazon, shocker. They are just blowing it through the roof. She's recruiting they're always recruiting, especially during these times. So there's Amazon. And then lastly is Vocal Vision. They are also an international education company. I thought that was it's VOCO Vision. And so we're going to list these, but that was my hot topic or hot information for today, in that it's really, we want to help you. And so we are always keeping our ear to the ground on where it is you can find positions that match your passion and your purpose, because we realize many of you are looking for that these days, not just the dollar. We're not all about chasing the dollar as much anymore.
Yeah.
So that's
what I love
have.
about
How
that.
about you, Lupe?
Well, what I love about that lineup is I just love the diverse kind of aspects of it. Like there are so many opportunities. Like it's not just one niche, right? And companies like, Robert Half, they hire for so many different types of industries now that, an opportunity is there to find something that fills your cup. So, which is kind of cool. So
fills your cup.
Yeah, exactly right. No, so my news is that this week SiriusXM is announced that they are buying Stitcher, which Stitcher, if you haven't heard of, is like another podcast platform, and they are buying it for $325 million. Just last month, Spotify signed Joe Rogan for $100 million. So, ladies, what this really means is that podcasts are growing by leaps and bounds. I know, girl, you are a big YouTuber, podcaster, consumer, as I've actually started to get into now as well too. But it's an interesting kind of just idea, because now all of a sudden, this statistic came out where there's like 32% of Americans are listening to podcasts. Like, it's phenomenal. I think this idea of being able to kind of be on the go, whether you're listening to it, in your commute or, while you're getting, I know I'm a big, when I go out for my morning walks with my pup, I'm like, all right, let's pop in some knowledge and let's expand the brain cells a little, but it's kind of phenomenal to see. And what's interesting is that the announcement of Sirius and Spotify just goes to show that this landscape is just growing. And there's a lot of new kind of players popping up, right? What's that?
I thought you said Stitcher. So it's Spotify.
So SiriusXM is buying Stitcher, but Spotify ended up signing on Joe Rogan just a few months ago for like $100 million, recognizing that Joe Rogan's got a huge following.
Huge audience,
So it's this idea that there's all these consolidations. And, what's interesting is that we've got obviously like the big players like, Apple and Google. It's crazy to think that even Google has, like 2 million podcasts that are registered alone. So that's a lot of people creating content. It's just, it's phenomenal.
Yes. And when you say that, because you and I have talked about doing that, once we finally have a team, we want to be able to spend some time developing that. and along with our YouTube channel. But the thing that I recommend that we're lucky about is we have such a niche. So if you're
Yes.
going to create a podcast and you're amongst 2 million plus globally, it's probably way more than that, right? You really need to hone in on your niche, which is what is it that you're leaving your audience with that only you as a masterpiece in what you do can provide that person. What is that?
Absolutely.
So it's gonna,
yeah.
yeah. So
And,
it's
you know,
not a
and
matter of
oh, I was gonna say, and what's kind of cool is that I think there's also just, I mean, listen to some podcasts. Like I know I'm actually a big fan of Trisha Blackwell's, as well as like Brendan Bouchard. I mean, and there's obviously you got to get a little Oprah in there as well too, right? So, but there's just a lot of amazing podcasts that you can learn from, and then find one and then get a feel for the format. Because I think, like you say, you know, you've got to hone in on your niche. Also, consistency is key. Making sure that you are in people's inboxes or on your podcast channel.
that's right.
When you say you're going to do it, so that you can build that stickiness. But it's all about kind of creating content, because we live in a very high kind of like content consumption world right now, where people are like looking for the stuff. So if you got something awesome to share, definitely
So
chime in.
some of my favorites are the Gold Digger podcast.
Oh yeah.
That is really great for building businesses. There is also Erin May Henry, Erin May Henry, out of Australia. I love hers as well. And hers is about building business and building up your base and and how it is you go about that, tips and tricks and all of that sort of thing. I also have the Juicy Scoop that I love to listen to with Heather McDonald.
The Juicy Scoop. I dig that.
The Juicy Scoop, because it's all about reality TV. That's my mind, Candy.
Got it.
Well, and let's just highlight, yesterday's conversation that we had with Amy Casper before we move on to inviting our guests on with us today. It was really wonderful to hear from her, and also speak with her a little bit about what she's going to impart on our guests tomorrow at Biz LifeCon. She's a woman that I've been talking about a lot and has now become our first advisor of SecondActWomen.
Gosh, I know. She's awesome.
She is, and she sits on global companies advisory team. So we're thrilled to have her. But I love the fact that she's going to be talking about something that you and I believe in, which is just start. Just start. Don't wait any longer. You have a big idea. You need to move on it before somebody else does. And just why should we hold each other back just because we're sitting at a certain number? And so, what did she leave with you yesterday before we introduced them?
I mean, well, where to start? I mean, I was fascinated by the fact that she rides Ducatis, first of all, because I love bikes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty awesome. So that was just a personal note. But you know what I think I really loved was her just authenticity of, I'm just showing up as me. Like I'm gonna, I'm not gonna care what other people think about me. I'm not going to, waste my time, my energy on trying to be somebody that I'm not. I'm gonna just show up, and if you like me, you like me, and if you don't, that's okay too, because not everybody's gonna like you. But this idea of, I think that was very much hand in hand with, just jumping in and starting up, because I think once you have the confidence, once you have the, self kind of just faith and like trust in yourself that you've got this, I think doors open up for you. But I think you need to move yourself to that point first in order to kind of walk through that door, though. So I think that's what she left for me. I love that about her spirit.
Yeah, I know the Ducati thing was way cool.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Like, girl, you are a badass. I love.
She is a badass. She admitted she was a tomboy. She's a tomboy, and so Yeah, I thought that was great. So so I'm gonna make the intro to Arezou, and you need to pop them in because people, I am doing this from
I
my
got you. I got
cell
you.
phone, right? Because this baby right here decided not to work right, so
And we're
I have to
swiveling
fix
in
it.
real time right now.
We're swiveling. We're swiveling. So I want to introduce Arezou, and I'm going to have her speak to you all about what she does entirely. But I met her when Lupe and I were working out of Women in Kind. Oh my gosh, we love the women over at Women in Kind, Jenna and Jen, and Yule. And so that was our home base for a while when we first launched this company.
Wow.
And I met Arezou there, and I was doing some promoting because that's what we do. And Biz LifeCon, originally BizCon, was coming up. And so I pulled her aside, and her and a couple other people, and just started talking about this. She and I ended up in a conversation. Next thing you know, we know a couple of people in common, and we then start running into each other in places and have since, and then Lupe, you met her immediately thereafter, and so we have all really considered each other's friends. We'll say, hey, you want to grab a Zoom drink, and the whole bit. To bitch about whatever is happening, like to pull ourselves out. So I love this woman. She is very bright. She's brilliant. She's from Iran originally, and she has got so much really great information to share with everyone tomorrow. And so let's bring Arezou on and have her tell us a little bit about her. Oh, she's got her glasses.
Oh, she is sporting the look too.
Her peepers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
I got that from you, Barbara. Yeah. I think I was watching one of the morning cups, and you had yours on, and you were like, Oprah. And I found, I went to Oprah, and then, I found it, and then I saw that Amazon will ship it, for free. So I went on Amazon, and, but they don't, I don't know if you buy it from Peepers directly. I think it comes with a case. With Amazon, it doesn't.
No, you know what? They came I did get them from Peepers directly. They had a deal where you can get them for, I don't know, like $12 or something, like an Amazon deal. Yeah, you just get a cheapy little case. But yeah, I'm digging them. I'm gonna have to get the red ones eventually.
I got like, seriously, I'm gonna have like glasses envy at some point in time here.
I know.
So I'm gonna just have to wear them. Even though I don't need them, I'm gonna just have to wear them. I don't know.
You can order it so that it's like see-through.
Maybe that'll be a special morning cup where we all show up with our glasses.
Right? I'm going to grab mine so that you're in between us. So, Arezou,
yes,
tell us a little bit about who you are, girl, and what you do. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about what you're going to provide our ladies tomorrow.
Okay. I am.
Who the hell are you?
I'm good. By the way, whoever is watching this, I so love these two women. They're so awesome. They're like sunshine. Seriously, like every time I'm around them, I feel like $1 million, and they're just seriously. They just
right back at you.
Thank you. They just exude this positive energy, but beyond that, you two are just, you were talking about badasses. You two are badasses. You're making something that has never been done. You're going about it one step at a time. You've had your ups, you've had your downs, but you've never given up. And look where you are now and what you're doing for all the women.
Oh my God.
Girl, you're gonna make us cry. What you doing?
I know, girl. I got some good lashes on today.
No, I mean it. I'm so inspired. You've had every reason to give up. You've had every reason to give up, but you haven't. And I'm so inspired.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, a heartfelt thank you. Like that, we couldn't have asked for a more beautiful gift. Appreciate it.
Somebody says, "Oh, she's adorable. I want to put her in my pocket."
They want to put you in their pocket.
I'll be in your pocket.
Hey. Girl, I need a full-on purse. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a startup coach and advisor, and I'm still considered an investor, although I'm not actively investing in anything because I deployed my fund and it's capped. Now I'm waiting for that return to come back to me before I can invest in other companies. And let's see. So I help startup founders, especially first-time founders, take their idea into market, make it a reality and launch it into market, and then later scale it. The type of people that come to me are those that are saying, hey, you know, I have an idea, but I don't really know how to take it forward. Or some that actually have a product, have a concept all drafted up or created, but they're going a million directions, but they're not really making progress. I help them really move the needle and take this puppy into the market. And if they need to adjust, there's a strategy associated with that. If they need to swivel, there's a strategy associated with that. So that's what I do, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it.
Well, and tomorrow, I think that's great. And again, you've helped us on, some of our big ideas, and you've had some ideas that we put in our tickler file. Mm-hmm. I'm going 1990 with that term, tickler file. But and so tomorrow, you're going to be leading a session on how it is these small to micro businesses, of which many of us are, if not all of us, can generate new revenue, because this is the time. A lot of companies were built during these depressive times. Mm-hmm. Uber and MySpace. Well, we know where MySpace is now, but successful ones.
Also was built during the 2008 recession. I mean, a lot of really good companies. Yeah. And finding a revenue stream, a new revenue stream, shouldn't be something that we think about just because the times are tough. When the times are really good, we also need to think about finding new revenue streams, because it's something good and helpful for the business. And a lot of people, they don't really know the method. There is a method. There is a formula in figuring out what revenue stream, is the best revenue stream, and add that to the company. In business, there is very little that has not been figured out, honestly. Most everything has a formula. Now, there's a lot that needs to be discovered, but that discovery also has a formula, so that there's a purpose and intention behind the discovery and experimentation versus let's throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Yeah.
And will you have you'll have some, I'm sorry, Lupe. I was just going to ask her about our micro businesses. I know. Go ahead. I'll go back to mine.
And I think what's really interesting too is, when this whole kind of like pandemic started, what we started to see in our community was women really struggling to see those additional revenue incomes. They were very much like, this is my one stream. This is what I am. I am a high touch. So I'm going to be, how can I pivot? How can I swivel to finding it? And we saw a lot of women really kind of go through this like mental spin of, I'm not going to survive. Mm-hmm. And so I love the advice of like, even in the good times and in the bad, you should be thinking about this. So I guess in that case, like, what are some tips if you were to say, hey, when you're in the good times, how do you plan for that? Like, what are some tips that you would say, hey, as a startup, don't just wait for the bad times, but get prepared?
Yeah. So there is a difference between working in your business and working on your business. And and a lot of startup founders, and this is not their fault. It's just the nature of a startup company. Come on, I'm talking about this as though I totally, I'm on top of the world, but I work in my business 90% of the time and work on my business 10% of the time. And really what you want is the flip of that. You want 90% of the time you're working on your business and 10% in your business. Why? Because your business is so well figured out that it can run itself. Or you can turn it over to, other people that are, less experienced. Again, it's so figured out and it's so simple to run that someone else can run it, and you can think about growth. And so the tips to think about other revenue streams. If you're working on your business, again, you step back and look at your business like a black box and you define it. you define, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. There are 4 things that every business needs to know by heart and very, very objectively. Number 1, what is your product and service in just simple, stupid line? Okay. I sell notebooks. I sell notebooks. I provide mental health coaching to people who have experienced loss recently. Very, very simple. So what is your product or service? Who is your customer, right? So I just said people who have experienced loss, right? The third is, how do you provide that? Do you do it in person, or what's the distribution in corporate lingo? And then lastly is, what's the price of your product and service? Those are the 4 levers you've got to play with when you're talking about a new revenue stream. And then tomorrow we'll talk about each of these levers and how you move it in a different direction. And then most importantly, how to evaluate that to make sure it's not too far from what you're doing. This is the mistake that a lot of startup founders make.
Yeah.
If it's too far from what you're doing now, your chances of success are very little. It's more luck than anything else. If you are providing, mental health coaching to someone, to go from mental health to nutrition, that may be a little too far. You just have to evaluate that. So, and Barbara, I wish you wouldn't fidget so much. I'm getting dizzy.
She said, I know. I'm like, we're getting vertigo.
I
know. Sorry.
So it requires, and this is an example of working on your business, is that you're looking at your business versus being in your business. And you're characterizing your business and you're evaluating what you need to do with it.
What's interesting, because Michael Beavis, we had gone through, we're in that Denver Scale Up program, and he pointed some things out to us, because sometimes you're also too close to your business. So you're so close that it's really great, which is what we're doing, is having an advisory committee, and having people like you that are there in our corner to help us see things from a this level versus this level. And so one of the things that he noticed when we did our pitch, and I know Lupe knows where I'm going with this, is to put things into 3 buckets, which we call our 3 key pillars. And it helped us tighten up our message as well, which is really what you were talking about in essence with the first part of it is, and so it's actually helped clarify for us even further 2 years in, as of tomorrow, what it is and who it is we serve and our why, which of course is always important.
Yes.
So I really, it's our 3 key pillars, right, Lupe? You could tell what they are.
What's kind of cool too is that I think sometimes, even to your comment too, Arezou, you're so close to your business that you don't see those additional revenue streams. You don't see those additional opportunities, or maybe you don't even identify what's not working, right? I mean, you kind of just say, I'm going to just keep going, right? And so to have, people like yourself or Michael, like that helped us kind of just step back a little bit too and look at things a little differently, that are not involved in the day-to-day, is really a powerful, step that I think every company should go through. Because I think then that leads to the, what else am I missing? To your identity, like what else can I identify that I could be doing better or add to my, current load of things to do, in essence. So
and this is
also, if it doesn't fit in that bucket, either throw it away, like you said, Arezou. If you're going too far out, give it to someone else to do. Literally. Yeah. But if it doesn't fit in that bucket, which is how Lupe and I are looking at things, if it doesn't fit in education, content that we're providing, or our signature events, then we're gonna put it under perhaps our other company, the parent company, Bloom Co. But you got to stay laser focused.
And be very, very methodical about how you grow your business. A really good example is the company Snooze, the breakfast company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I'm a fan.
And I think, I don't know if this was designed or not, but after the COVID, after all restaurants closed down, they started delivering the, breakfast and so they started marketing to their email list that they deliver the breakfast pack to their customers, right? So they basically, that's on the distribution side, right? Because they used to serve their customers on site. Now they're saying, okay, well, what if we look at the distribution and deliver that? And they're doing really well. There's another restaurant in Golden that what they did was really, really cool. So this is actually kind of a higher end international cuisine, steak and pastas and I think it's called Indulge, I think.
It's Indulge. We've been there, right, Lupe, with Katie Johnson years ago.
Oh my gosh, I was like years ago, but
years ago. So, we can afford it.
I know, yeah. So what they did after the pandemic, which was really, really interesting, was they started delivering the actual uncooked, like a meal kit almost. So think about it. They have tons and tons of perishables that are sitting in their fridge and they're going to throw them away, right? There's nobody coming in to eat a steak or a salad or whatever. So they're like, well, what if we put these together like a complete, steak meal, a complete lamb chop meal, but uncooked. And people can come and pick it up. I thought that was really cool, So again,
who else did that?
Yeah.
Kendra Anderson over at Bar Helix. She did mocktails and cocktail recipe ingredients that you can come and pick up the ingredients even at her place, safe distancing. Sorry, you guys, safe distancing. And you can pick up the ingredients, and with it came a recipe, and you go home and you learn how to make your own courtesy. And that was another revenue generator. And that's what I was talking about, which is really great, which is what you're going to speak to tomorrow as we kind of come to a close, is that it's those ways that still stick within who you are, but how can you think differently? How can you think about that? And how do you think differently during the good and the bad times?
Yeah. Exactly. Those revenue streams, you were talking about Kendra, and I was talking about Snooze and Indulge, those won't go away now, right? Even after things open up, that's an additional revenue stream that they will benefit from.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I even noticed that Snooze opens for dinner now. I didn't know they delivered because they're up the street from me off of Colorado near Cherry Creek. They now open for dinner. And I'm like, smart people. It's just like McDonald's. Who doesn't order a quick muffin at 5 o'clock?
Yeah. And I'm like, I've had my fair share of pancakes and waffles for dinner myself. So.
Right? Now that's also their way of recouping the money that they're losing from the long lines in the morning on weekends and even weekdays that they're getting. And so it's smart for them to find those ways. Bull and Bush next door to me has been doing, they took over their parking lot and have a huge tent, 6-foot tables. Only each party obviously can sit at those. So when I or anybody can go to dinner, you feel safe. It's outside, and they took over their parking lot. And that's how they're recouping the space that they can't obviously have inside the building, which I think is smart anyway. They should do that all the time anyway.
I mean, and what's anyway, if it works out, then that they can then go ahead and continue to do this even after it, right? Exactly. Like it's just a matter of. And I think that's what differentiates, as we come to a close, I think that's what differentiates, I think, those that succeed and those that get by is the idea that I'm going to try 10 times harder. I'm not going to let something just roll me over, or I'm not going to just say, oh, well, sorry me, this happened. Like, I'm going to just find a way, not around it, but through it. And I think that is the differentiator, on what success can kind of bring companies. So we invite you ladies to step into that with us in Arezou tomorrow. Yay.
Why do we have to
we do
close? I'm having fun. I'm kidding.
Because girl, we are going to continue this conversation tomorrow.
I know. And
exactly. And we're going to have you back, girl. You're one of our girls. We appreciate you. And thank you for saying yes to tomorrow's Biz LifeCon event. You've been promoting it up the wazoo. And we want to remind everyone, by the way, that $5 is per ticket is going to a charity. It's called Sense of Security. And I almost said we, only because I'm on the board, but they are fantastic. We are losing money. And we need to help. What we do is with Sense of Security is, and it's been around 20 years this year, we provide funding for breast cancer treatment patients, women or men, because yes, men can get breast cancer. And so what we're doing is $5 a ticket from Biz LifeCon goes to that organization. If we collectively can provide the living expenses of one woman or one man for the month of August, it's well worth it. It's an impact made by all of us. So we want you to know that Lupe and I have always had this giving side of us. And we want to thank you. Those of you that already purchased tickets, we encourage you to buy a ticket, and it will go for the good as well. All right. Thank you, Arezou. We're going to welcome Tony if she's here. I'm going to let Lupe do that part since I can't tell on myself.
See you guys. Bye.
Love you, girl.
You know what? I am continuously, between yesterday, last week's show, we are highlighting just some amazing women. And my post yesterday was all about that. Like through this organization, girl, I think, yes, I love the impact we're creating. Yes, I love what we do, period. But I cannot continue to be amazed by the caliber of women that, we've attracted, not just as like women to contribute and share to our organization, but women that have become friends, that are now like helping us, that are supporting us, that we can collaborate.
Yes.
Like I'm in love with my girls.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. How, it's truly a blessing. And you're absolutely right. I mean, just hearing from someone, Arezou, where she's been in her life and the things that she's done and the fact that she is a supporter of our little old company, and same with Amy and Michael Beavis and just everyone watching it. Brenda Aviles in Brooklyn, New York, who's on every week. And it's just beautiful. And so I can't wait for tomorrow, girl. So is Tony with us? I can't tell.
She is not. She I think maybe had something come up. So we are gonna.
We should have kept Arezou on. Darn it! You know what? Let me ask you this. Let's say Brenda.
I wanted to kind of just get real on like all the behind the scenes that are going about Biz LifeCon, lady. Like I know you and I have been working like mad yesterday, and like, well, not just yesterday, but like for months now. But like yesterday, I was like, all right, girl, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling all of the late hours, the late nights and the early mornings, right? Like it's been learning.
Well, I even got snippety yesterday with you when we exited the meeting with.
I didn't pick up on it.
I got snippety because I'm like, oh my God, when I looked at the list of all the things we still had to do. And then, of course, you know me, when I do get a snap, I always have to apologize because it's not very nice of me. And so, by the way, to your face, and I apologize again.
Okay.
But it is. There's no but in that. It is a lot. We oddly, this is the part I love about creating events, because I love, and I know you agree, the impact. And I know I use that word a lot. That's my new word. Maybe that'll be my word of the year next year, is what we're looking to do and why we're doing this and why we're having the sleepless nights. Yeah. It's, she's still backstage. Bring her on.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yay! And the love fest continues.
I love it.
I think you know what I'm perspective too, because we're just riffing, girl, now on like all that it takes. Like we were just talking about success and this whole idea of just like this work hard mindset, and like, girl, you've been on the ride with us, working at Workability. You've seen kind of the 9-to-5 grind, and then some that we all put in, and it's just. Yesterday was one of those days where I'm like, man, you always wonder, are we creating the impact that women want to see? Are we creating, what women want? And it's just this whole, you kind of go through this back and forth, right? As as once you're in the thick of it, that you're just like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, all of it, that it just kind of gets up and we're like,
and
is it making a difference?
And you're not an event producer, so this is still all new to you. By the way, I am inviting Brenda Aviles. Brenda, I just sent you the link to this. Join us on StreamYard so that maybe you can talk with us. Why not? I know she's working, so Brenda, check your Facebook Messenger and join us. Only because she's been a big supporter of us. And, and Lupe, I get it because, it's a lot of work putting on these things. It's a lot. And this is, we're creating a TV show. Oh. Honestly, that's kind of what we're doing, is making it sort of like.
This is kind of like The View,
Okay, I love the comparison.
Totally. This is kind of like The View. So I love it. But look at you were asking.
Minus the politics, which I gotta stop on my personal page. I deleted a comment. I gotta stop it. Yeah.
Don't stop it. I love it.
You were saying, Arezou, go ahead.
I was going to say, you were saying, is it making an impact? And my question to you is, what is an impact? How would you define
an
that?
Impact for me? Go ahead, Lupe.
An impact to me personally is, I just want to, I create impact through sharing my gifts and talents with other people. And if those talents and gifts are received in a way that makes a difference for someone, then that's impact. And I hope that's being felt and met by people along the way. And I know you get people that tell you that, I think it's, in times when I think I'm just, in my own depths of reflection and like, wow, this is a lot. We're going, there's a lot on the line on this, and we're kind of going through, and, all the backstory conversations that sometimes people don't hear about, like, with our business and what we're going through. And I think it just, I just get in my head about it, I suppose.
Well, I will say this, and I'm so glad you said the word "for someone," because you've made a difference for me. You both. The fact that your company has existed, and I've gotten to meet you and become friends with you and follow you in your journey. You've made a difference for me.
Lashes are coming off.
Oh, Lupe.
Yesterday is my turn. Today is her. Yeah, Arezou, thank you for that, because the impact, for me, it's exactly what she said. It's also the having people not just be a part of this community, but doing things for themselves, doing things because of you, or because of what Lupe has imparted, or because of what a supporter on Facebook group page has said or lent a helping hand. To us, that's also the impact. That's why we're doing this, is to give women their push maybe that they need. And if they don't need the push, it's just providing the community to say, I'm here with you. Let's go have a drink, especially when we can. Let's grab a Zoom. Friendships are being created. That's an impact. So
no, I couldn't agree. And speaking of friendships, we have Miss Brenda, who's become just an amazing friend and now like partner in crime on certain things. I'm going to add her real quick to kind of just bring into the conversation as well too.
Hi, Brenda. Real quick, I'm so glad to have you from Brooklyn. I want you to say what you're feeling right now, Lupe. And this is minus me jumping in. I want you to say what you're feeling, because I think it's important. People see me cry my eyes out. I want them to see, what are you feeling?
I'm just, I think I'm just feeling, I'm so wanting to create a difference, and I'm so wanting to help people, especially our community, that I think, we continue to give of ourselves in so many ways, and sometimes it stretches us mentally, emotionally, physically. I haven't worked out in like 5 days because I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and working, and I think I'm just exhausted, to be honest. And but I'm also grateful. And that's the thing. It's such a paradox in my mind because I'm so like, you know, you and Barb, I mean, you know, Barb, we've been kind of burning the midnight oil at both ends, right? Like we're up at 4, like to bed at 11 and vice versa. And it's been like that like for a while now, right? So I think I'm at a
2
point,
years.
you know, especially, and I think when we get to this point, you know, where we're so close to something we've been pouring our heart into, that I just, you know, I feel like I just want our community to say, you know, I know why these ladies are doing it, and I'm going to support them, and we're going to be here. And I love all of the ladies that step in, our volunteers, and, you know, all the women. Like, it humbles me to see that, in fact, we do create it. And I think sometimes I just get in my head about, you know, balancing it all, I think is the thing. And I think that's a tough one for entrepreneurs. This idea of balancing, keeping some type of sanity in the process is challenging. So I think I'm just kind of speaking from that. Like, I just want to give you guys the world, and I want to, I want to be your biggest cheerleader, and I want you to guys succeed in life and work and in business, and know that we are genuinely here for you, like genuinely, like no matter what you need. Barb and I have, and this community is all about women supporting women, and I just want you to feel that. So there you go.
Thank
okay,
you for sharing.
Less tears now. Okay, moving on.
Oh, you're human. I love you, sis.
I know.
Thank you for sharing.
So
here's Brenda from Brooklyn.
What?
Hello, my beautiful ladies. What a joy to be on here with you. Yes, I'm on work hours.
We won't tell. We won't tell.
You know, I had to run into the room and throw on like a decent shirt because I was in my jammies. You know, nobody sees me. I'm working from home. I was in my jammies. But I just want to type in and say, you know, I've never met Arezou, but I can tell just from some past conversations that you've had where she's been involved that I've, you know, seen online and heard you talk about. I just want to highlight and just say what Lupe, and agree with you, you know, the caliber of women that have shown up. The caliber of women, the women that you are now having an opportunity to give a platform to, right? Because for so long, women are always in the background. You know, we're overshadowed because we are trying to make it in a man's world in many ways, even though it's 2020, right? And even the book that I quoted, you know, was from a man, right? It's just, yes, it's you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, there's always this struggle, and we have now created a platform. And I say we because if we don't participate, then we're not a part of the platform, right? So I say we because I'm an active participant in the platform, right? We have an opportunity to actually be at the forefront of so much. So you have given us a platform, you've given us a voice, you've given us a stage. You know, you've also, I just also want to attest to the fact that behind the scenes, I work with Lupe behind the scenes. And the level of excellence that she brings to the table is just, you know, inspiring. And so I want to say that to you too, Arezou. It's obvious, it's evident that you are here because you are excellent, right? Like attracts like, right? Yeah. And so here we are doing our very best to create an opportunity for women, to give to women. And so, of course, it's only natural, right? That this is what we're creating. And so I'm just happy to be here all the way from Brooklyn and just supporting this work and being a part of this community.
Oh, girl.
So nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm looking forward to meeting so many more wonderful women. I've been fascinated by your name because I was like, what a great name. Who is this woman? I'm so happy to meet you. I'm so happy to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, one of the things that I really appreciate about Second Act Women and Lupe and Barbara, you know, I've had a glimpse of, you know, the inside and what's going on, you know, in their journey, but they are always there as a pillar for other women. And so many times, seriously, so many times, I like, remember earlier in COVID time, Barbara, I called you up and I'm like, I so appreciate, because she was putting these affirmation videos, and she's like, are you showing up? You need to show up. You need to get up, get dressed, you know. and it's so inspiring to me, because I go through my ups and downs every day, and I ask myself, when I'm down and I'm like, I just give up. I don't, life is against it. I ask myself, well, what would second act women, what would they expect of me? And that is the question that I'm like, okay, get up, show up, put on the makeup, It's
get up,
awesome.
dress up, show up.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
it's an incredible, just to piggyback, right? It's a reminder that, when times are so hard, because they've been so hard for so many of us, right? It's like you're a light in the middle of that dark. Like, yes, things are hard, but look what we have. We have community. Let's get together for a happy hour. How about this great workshop? It's just turning things around, a different perspective, because it's so easy to wallow, and these are wallowable times, So thank you. I agree 100%. Arezou, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because what you say, what you guys say is actually what keeps us motivated. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It's like a full circle. We're all keeping each other motivated. Uh-oh, am I frozen?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're good.
My face is. So it's interesting to hear that we do that for you, because we know for a fact you guys do that for us.
Yeah.
Keep us motivated. And women it's like, why is it, by the way, let's just talk about ageism for a minute. Why in the hell is it that we have been pigeonholed, by the way? Since we have all four of us on here, let's get your thoughts on what the heck is going on with society that says that we're done, when we're all proof that we're just getting started. What is that?
Well, I'm calling BS first. I've always put that question about, like, where is it written that you hit 40, 50, 60 plus and you're past your prime? I don't like, there's the retirement age and this and that, but I think honestly that is generationally passed down archaic way of perspective, when they don't take into account that now women are living longer. Where there's medical systems in place. We are more conscientious of what we eat and how we exercise and take care of our bodies and ourselves. And so I don't think that these mentalities that just have been, baton passed down to generations have caught up with the fact that as women, and even as society, we have, as a human race, evolved and become now more robust and resilient. And so I think that mentality just needs to catch up, I think, with us, to be honest.
I want to also add to that in addition to that, right, because that is 100% true. I also want to add that policies also need to catch up with us, right? Mm-hmm. So part of the problem is that we have all of these policies that don't really serve us as a gender, right? And so we're still out here fighting for a seat at the table, so to speak. But I think that with an organization like this, we have the opportunity to really just shift, right? Because we are supporting entrepreneurs, right? Women who are writing their own rules and who are now going to change that perception. And they now have a platform and a support to do that in. But I agree. I think, society hasn't sort of caught up with the changes in times. And I think technology is going to also help us shift that view in terms of what we do and how we do it. I am not the same 48-year-old that my mother was. But my mother also isn't the same 70-year-old that her mother was.
Right.
And so my daughter will also not be the same 48-year-old that I am. And so this is how we start. We may not see it in our lifetime, but maybe our grandchildren's lifetimes will be different.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And a part of it, I think, is that a segment of the society is resisting, getting on with the program. This is really interesting. So a couple weeks, my birthday was in June, end of June.
Happy belated.
Thank you. And thank you. And, you get all of, these LinkedIn happy birthday things. So it turned out that I was connected with a pretty high-level guy, beyond the CEO at the board level of some oil and gas company. And he says, "Happy birthday. How old are you now?" And I say, "Well, young enough to just be getting started and old enough to be wise." And he's like, "Oh, that's so hot." And then he says, I know, and then he says,
"Is he single?"
Listen. So then he says, "Oh, I thought you would be in your early 30s, but then I looked at your LinkedIn profile with all of these experiences, and and then he puts like this shocked, face.
Yeah,
he went from up here to like down here,
and I'm like, what a-hole."
I want to know who this joker is.
I know. I blocked him. But, I'm like, dude, if I look good, okay, thank you. I take that compliment. If I am, my credentials are impressive to you, I take that compliment. What the hell does that have to do with my age?
Yeah.
Why do you bring that into the conversation? Go ahead.
It just, I'm sorry to interrupt because I'm just like burning. My ass is burning right now because I'm so mad about this, right? And forgive my French. But it makes me, I feel like and I hope this doesn't come across. It's just as mothers, I think we have to do a better job now that we have this awareness of how we're raising our sons, right? Because he is obviously subscribing to a very outdated model of what a vibrant woman, successful, how old she should be.
Right.
As if, you didn't need the years of experience to get to where you are. Right? To discard those years of experience and that wisdom, what a disservice that would be, right? So, we have to sort of like do better with, with our family, with our brothers, with our uncles, with, we have to change the way our boys and our men are viewing the women in their own lives.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to say was that, it's also a power disruptor.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a force of women like this coming in to the field, we are disrupting the power. And so they're going to try and keep us down a little bit longer, right? Because they don't want to give that up. But we have to be fearless. And that's how come those affirmations are so important. Because we need the momentum, and it can be exhausting, and we can burn ourselves out, but we need to just continue because it's inevitable. We are a force.
Yeah.
We are.
Girl, I love that. And see that guy, you're a loser. Like, I can't believe that. Like, I mean, what the hell? And I think those are the opportunities too, where, on top of Brenda, what you're saying too, like push back. Like, I love how you said, I can't remember, you said it so eloquently, so I can't remember, like, age, or the wisdom, but young enough to,
I said young enough to just be getting started, old enough to be wise.
There you go. Like, I mean, girl, that is grace at its finest, to be like, you know what? No, I don't have to be a magic number to be creating the impact that I am creating in my career and then and now. And so I think we need to take those opportunities to make sure that we step into that and challenge those ideas. And ladies, I would love to continue this conversation. We were coming up to our closing, sadly to say. I loved all the impromptu kind of like just kicking that went on.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the party.
Brenda, you're amazing.
Thank you. It's I always get so nervous when I'm on camera.
Well, girl, you rise into the occasion and then some. So
yeah,
let's wrap it up. Well, Barb, you want to tee it off, and I will follow.
Oh, sure. I first want to. I want to say I'm so blessed to have met Brenda back at BizLifeCon when she flew in for it. I thought that, the minute I met you, I knew you were real, you're judgment free, and you even gave us some really great ideas for our next event and all of that. And so to hear that you and Lupe and my little sis Katie are creating a wonderful life program together is more than we can ever ask for. And Arezou, I'm going to talk to you about how on the other side of that, what we want to do for the business component side to help our ladies, which is what they've been working on coursework. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who continually tunes in every Thursday to this craziness, and how much I love my business partner. And I can't wait to see her later today to give her a distant social
air hug. Air hug. There you go. No, right back at you. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for joining. If what we preach, the community that you've been a part of, has made a difference for you, we ask that you support us. Please show up at BizLifeCon and be part of the conversation, be part of the change that Brenda talked about, and be part of just creating a new future for all of us, for our ladies and our future generations to rise up and not have to deal with ageism in the workplace, in life, period. So thank you again from the Second Act Women Studios, home studios, I guess. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Stay online, ladies.